Hello, friends, and welcome. Welcome to a live conversation on ALLATRA TV. Um, Today, we continue talking to interesting people about the Creative Society, a new format of living where human beings are at the center of every process in society. The Creative Society is a unique global project of ALLATRA International Public Movement. Millions of people from all over the world are already discussing and framing the vision of a society that we want to live in. Creative Society is a wonderful project in which the primary goal is to build a creative society by peaceful means. Let me back up. Using this inspirational goal to unite people around the globe to build a society that humanity deserves to live in. This project creates unlimited opportunities to connect with people worldwide and hear their vision of a creative society. So now I have the pleasure of introducing my very special guest, Melinda Peterson, transformational educator, author, speaker, photographer, and advocate. My favorite part, advocate for youth. Welcome to our program, Melinda.
Excellent. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm super excited to be on this platform and share this wonderful mission that you are out to help evolve all of humanity. And that's exciting.
Okay, great. Awesome. Thank you. We are excited to have you here. So, Melinda, you have a very interesting background. Could you please share with the viewers your primary focus and what inspires you the most?
Well, what inspires me is the opportunity to grow and expand. And I believe that's why we are all here. Why I am an advocate for youth is because with childlike energy and vivacious exploration, children lead us by example that says that we are here to grow and expand and become the highest version of ourselves until children are taught that they can't. And I am here to gather with like-minded people to say, yes, we all can. And children will lead the way. They will show us how to grow and expand and be that highest version of who we are, because we are designed to come here to this planet to share in our own brilliance. And it's going to be different for all of us. So that exploration with childlike energy, that is my passion. And I'm here to help them support their mission, and for all of us to remember that we have a purpose here and with great design to make huge changes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. So, Melinda, more and more people seem to be voicing their desires for all humans to experience a better quality of life. At the core common concerns being expressed globally is the need for change in regard to the current format, shifting to allow for all humans everywhere to be allowed the same access to enable them to thrive, which is essentially what you were talking about, that thriving. So, Melinda, do you feel living in a creative society would support this global vision, and why?
Right. I do believe that because we have an opportunity, and we have an opportunity every day to learn, and you get to choose how you want to learn or not learn. And we are globally exploring things that have served us for a certain amount of time, maybe generationals, and it's not working anymore. So we are at a pivotal point to say, is this working? Is it serving all of us? Can we do better? And because we do know that we can do better, let's get that momentum going. Let's get the energy going. Let's have that conversation of really taking an assessment of where we're at and what's not working, and then start to look in the direction of what if. what if we could create that world where we all are thriving in?
Okay, so let's expand on that question. What do you feel would be the benefit globally of a creative society, a project, if people really came together, they united, and they supported a project such as the Creative Society? What do you feel the benefits would be of that?
Well, and the benefits are just astronomical, and we would not, I don't even know if we can comprehend the level of the benefits, but we can start with like the core of it, of really coming together in unity, coming together in that humanness and understanding of who we are as a human, but also understanding that we have differences and how we approach those differences, but we can learn and exchange from those differences. So when we unite together with everyone globally, we can come in that unity that says we can get more done and we can go farther when we go together. And yes, the concepts of the society is amazing. And it really shouldn't be that we don't have this conversation. We should be having this conversation more and more. And I love the work that's being done, but there's 8 billion people on the planet. And let's say a lot of people do not know about this movement, do not know about these ideas. And how can we all come together and really move in that direction?
Absolutely. I think you touched on a really key point about the ability for all of us, no matter, it really transcends, religion or, your background, your nationality. Wouldn't you say that there's, it speaks to that opportunity that you just mentioned in regards to the unlimited potential and not being able to measure it. So is there anything that you can think of that might, if you were someone who was not familiar with the Creative Society and they had some sort of, I don't know, it's a resistance, because as we know, as doing the work that we both do, people can, often come from a place of fear. How would you suggest that someone would be able to embrace a project such as the Creative Society and really just kind of, put their fears aside of this? I mean, it seems like an undertaking, in the perspective coming from the place where we're so used to being in that old paradigm, that people might resist it. So how do you think that they could deal with any potential resistance that would come up?
Well, we all have opportunities every day to either live in fear with this in contraction, or we can choose to expand. And as humans, when you give people that opportunity, you ask them, even if, what are you fearful for? And have those conversations. But if you had the opportunity to move in a direction of love and expansion and joy and happiness and peace, everyone naturally just starts to expand into that because that's our humanness. But we also can hold on to the fears that limited us, but we can also plant those seeds and say, what if? What if you could expand? Because we all want that. We all want the love and the unity and taking care of our families and taking care of our communities and ourselves and uplift that next generation. And we're making those choices right now. What kind of world do we want the next generation? Or really, how I focus on the next 7 or 12 generations that were made 12 generations before us, 7 generations before us. So we're really at a catalyst as humanity to look and say, how are we going to pivot? Not only for us now, but for the next 7, 12 generations down.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I fully believe that in all my heart. We're at the precipice of evolution for humanity. And, we really have this amazing opportunity to be able to create a new legacy. So that sounds very exciting. So as a part of the Creative Society Project, people from various countries are conducting the biggest social polling in history of mankind to find out what type of world that we wish to live in. As a result of those millions of interviews, from everyday people, just like you and me, this isn't, politicians, this isn't a corporate thing or anything like that. This is just everyday people connecting from various parts of the world. And as a result of those millions of interviews, the 8 foundations from the Creative Society, which you've had a chance to review, were formed. So let's just take a minute and share the short video of the 8 foundations for the viewers to see so they can all be up to speed with that.
The biggest social polling in our entire history of civilization has been conducted during the last 10 years by people around the world. 180 countries, millions of people of different social statuses, denominations, nationalities, talk about the society in which they want to live in. And this is a creative society based on the answers of the people from around the world. 8 foundations of creative society were established. A society where all people can live in happiness, peace, and prosperity. This is that very society that our prophets bequeathed to us. All prophets talked about the value of life, freedom, honesty, common human values, equality before God, mutual respect, and unification of people, about love for each other. They talked about the common truth and about the world which we can create. The prophets said, there will be a time when we're able to build. We are honored to live in the time which the prophets talked about, when everyone is chosen.
Wow, great. Okay, so that leads to you work with youth and you deal with a lot of youth through the Judicial Society. What role do you think that our current Judicial Society plays in either supporting, a creative society? Like, how do you feel that the judicial system, as you see it, can shift in a way that would support our youth and just all of us, as humankind, in living, these 8 foundations as a creative society globally?
Well, the judicial system, the way it's operating right now, needs to be looked at intensively. It's an old pattern that is collectively recycling. And what can happen is, if people like you and me and others that really have a passion for coming in and seeing that equality, seeing that there needs to be a change, and believing in that this change can happen within the humans that you're working with, because we can learn from each other so much. It's the judgments that we have on others that stop us from moving forward. And that's a learned thing. That's not something that essence of a child comes with. They embrace each other, that unity consciousness. So in the judicial system, that tends to be the outliers, the kids that society doesn't want to deal with, or people have just put them in a box and they marginalize them. What we need to do is have that conversation and show up how each of us are contributing to that paradigm that needs to shift and change, because it can. And once we have enough momentum going, then we can break these generational curses. And there will be momentum with the generations and the youth to make not only their life personally of value and of meaning, because they were given that before they were told it wasn't of value. They can change their home, they can change their community. And then once we get enough of that momentum going, we can, there's no end to it.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much. So in a consumer format, that we're currently operating in this consumeristic narrative, right? Human life is underestimated, what you're speaking of, the self-limiting beliefs, the beliefs that we adapt through childhood, and undervalued. There's a striving to get some sort of status and significance in society, and people may play certain roles, forgetting about important values such as, connection and joy, what you're speaking of. What can be done so that each person in society could understand the value of their own life and open up to their inner human potential?
Well, it is that inner potential. We all know about it. It's when we become disconnected from that wisdom within ourselves. Children know it. They bounce around with joy and energy and love and excitement until they're told not to. And then they start to conform, or they start to notice that if I behave this way or act this way, then I'll get that recognition from it. Or as the kids evolve in their schooling, they don't come with that idea that you are better than me, or their judgments, or you have these certain clothes, and that consumerism, until it's projected on them. The big house, the big car, the status, the clothes. And when you bring that back into the judicial system, that's where a lot of those kids are struggling, because they're seeing what they do not have out here in that commercialism, because we haven't taught enough to go within and recognize that you have your own wisdom and your value within yourself, and that knowingness that, yes, it's okay to want some of these things, but we don't all want the same things. And then that's where that pull comes from for the ones that can get them and that's handed to them. And then the ones that feel like they have to have it in order to feel any kind of worth. But if we train each other and we teach each other to remember that we are worth, we have enough, and we are enough, then that commercialism, that control, that power over us, that narrative that says we're not good enough and we're not enough if we don't do this. So it's just shifting that. And I think we're getting some momentum on it.
We are. So there's an identity or an identification that comes with the external that puts the value on the external. Whereas the work that you're doing and that the Creative Society Project is doing is redirecting that flow of value, of the identity or the identification of value back to self, which we all come with, right? Seems simple enough, doesn't it?
Right.
Seems simple enough, right? So right now we're going to take a brief moment, and we'd like to show our viewers a short video of the conference, the Creative Society, what the prophets dreamed of, which is pretty much what we're speaking of. And this unprecedented event united people from all over the world. And then we'll ask you a couple of questions when we come back from watching that short video.
Yeah.
Amazing, Don. I'm so overwhelmed. I'm so grateful to be part of this Creative Society program. Thank you, guys. Let's keep doing this until we unite mankind.
It was a humbling and exciting and inspiring experience to all of us. We want this world to be a better place. We want to leave this world better than when we found it. I'm
honored and I'm flattered just getting to know the idea of this conference and just watching how diverse it was. And understanding that how God is love and how we can love each other equally.
In total, I have heard, I've listened, and I've understood from the people around the world the way people actually pour their heart out. And it was so phenomenal to see people from different religions but talking almost the same language.
I'm totally inspired and motivated by what I received from the conference on the power of love and the role each one of us plays to build it.
This is a very beautiful moment I'm sharing, that all volunteers all across the globe, we want happiness, we want peaceful life, we want togetherness, we want a life where everyone should live in peace
and truth, purified from false. People will be able to understand their religion truly,
who watched it and accepted the truth. I think we will succeed in everything. I believe it.
The importance of the creative society, as I understand it, is to implement all the good qualities of a person.
Such freedom of spirit, such unification of people, such an example of what people who feel the need and strive for the freedom can do. Feel the need for this unification because they understand that these are such times that we simply have no other option. And besides, it is a need, the need of every heart.
Okay, we're back. So, Melinda, in your opinion, what can people do? How can people step forth into the light of who they are authentically and embrace such a project, this massive global project as Creative Society? How can they, participate and make this not only a vision, but take this vision of a creative society and manifest it into a reality for every human being around the globe? So how can they step forth and make sure that a project like this reaches every nook and cranny and corner of people around the world?
It is to make that decision to do so. One of my projects that I'm working on right now is called 528HZ. It's a universal experiment, and everything is a frequency. So 528 hertz is measured, that is the start of that frequency that uplifts us and expands us, the frequency of love. When you are in a frequency of love, just by holding that space of being in love, it resonates, it changes, it shifts your home, it shifts your community, it shifts your school, your work, your relationships. So if we could all just take our ownership and bring our power back to us and keep it in a higher frequency, it is said that one person in a high frequency of love can change and affect 144,000 people that are in a lower frequency. So if we can take that and own into that power just by tuning into our wisdom of 528, that frequency of love, because the universe, the one song, we all sing that, then we can come to a tipping point and things will flow, and those creative ideas and unity will come together with just grace, flow, and ease.
Right. So what would be the best way that you would recommend that people can tap into that 528 frequency? Do you have a website or something? Excuse me.
I do. And I talk about it, and it's just, I do it in the classroom. I have my little tuning fork, and the kids grab it and they gravitate to it. And you don't have to know that things are happening. You don't have to know how it works or if it's working and get caught into your head. If we just live from that heart center that connects all of us with intention, that it's a super easy thing that each of us can do. And notice when I'm out of the flow, am I coming from that higher expansion part of me right now that's bringing me unity? We're going to have good days and bad days, and things are going to flip us off and make us off-centered. But if we train that and make it normal for us to take a moment to come back to who we really are, to be that higher version of ourselves, then we can all start to learn those patterns and fall into them faster and more frequent. And that's what's so exciting, because in these systems where great change can happen, we can teach this. And you don't have to say it out loud. You just have to practice it. And I practice it all the time. Like all of us right now, we can be with intention, sending out that frequency globally. I might be over here on one part of the world, but I also know that this community, this creative society, there's thousands of us all over the rest of the world that are connecting, and we're all connecting with intention to raise that vibration and speak up what we just heard in that video. And we can do this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Connecting with the like-minded, people, the like energetic, the people that feel the way that you want to feel versus, tapping into what your environment may be. I always say that you should be a seeker of joy, of things that elevate you. So it's exactly what you're saying. So to connect with that higher vibration around you, and have that vibration magnify globally. It's a very exciting thing. Did you say the website? I was having a little bit of a coughing episode.
Voice chakra.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So did you say the website? Because I don't know if I heard it over all of that. So if you want to
actually, I don't have the website. I right now I'm on Instagram as the platform and Clubhouse and talking about this, and so I can get information out to you. But it's just that global tipping point where we can all it'll just explode into another just amazingness. It's super exciting.
It is, absolutely. Okay, great. So you're on Clubhouse so we'll put it in the link or the comments below, but what is your Clubhouse handle if you want to share it, and your Instagram? How do they reach you?
Sure. On Clubhouse, I'm at Melinda Magic, MELINDA MAGIC Magic. And we have lots of conversations about the frequencies, mental health, education, really bringing your brilliance out into the world and how we go about doing that. And on Instagram, it is 5288Z Universal Experiment. I'm seeing how we can build up this momentum, just like this society is, and then we go to a tipping point.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So, okay, let me, speaking of being centered, let me recenter my frequency and speak actually. As we're testing the theory, which is exactly what we're speaking of, is this frequency and how it expands when we link up with that, aligned higher vibration. The theory of 6 handshakes is utilized by the ALLATRA United and the Creative Society project. Can you think of someone that you would like to invite to our next conversation to hear his or her version or vision, I should say, of the Creative Society?
Oh, I'm sure. And I thought about this before, and I was like, who would be that one person that I think could, with their mission and their vision to expand faster and farther. There's so many people doing some wonderful, wonderful work, and their voice and their expression of brilliance coming out into the world. Do I need to pick and decide now?
You don't have to, but just, think about that, because, the mission is to continue to build the global momentum and to expand the awareness, and raise the overall, frequency and vibration. It's really exciting. I mean, like, you're like me, we know so many people doing this really amazing work. So it's important to, continue to, cast that out there and, help raise and I guess, speed up the ascension. I like the ascension of all humanity. It's this really exciting time to be alive. We're on the leading edge of evolution. That alone right there is like a high, like I just got goosebumps, where we're shifting away from that old, heavy energy, and into this, light, the light of love, honestly, at the end of the day, like what higher frequency, love and, peace, harmony, wellness,
Right.
Exactly. Especially.
Yeah. And then I just get goosebumps too. And it's just, are those soul bumps they talk about. It's just that it connecting into that energy, and what we focus on, we bring about. So notice where you're at and pivot to the direction that you want to go in. And we just keep holding the vision and we keep moving in that direction. So it is exciting times.
Yeah. And especially coming off of this massive, global, whatever you want to call it. I like to think of it as like a massive awakening. We were all forced to, kind of pause and reevaluate and really reconnect. I mean, it's such a great opportunity. So tapping into the power of that present moment and so forth. So, okay, great. So we'd like to say as well, if someone wants to know more about the Creative Society Project, the website is www.ALLATRAunites.com, I believe, is the thing. And you can find them on Facebook, find us on Facebook as well, as Creative Society. So please, tap into that and, the energy that we're all bringing forth, that's going to benefit all of humanity. And yes, ALLATRAunites.com, and press the join us button to see how you, on your screens, how you can do that. There you can choose the language and fill out the form and see how that you can also jump on board and promote this massive global movement. So I want to say thank you to Melinda and for everyone watching today. Now let's watch a short trailer for the upcoming international conference. The next one is Life After Death, Fiction and Facts. For the first time in history, scientists, physicians, clergymen, eyewitnesses, like the everyday people like you and I, we're not any different than anyone else. You and I, we're just, a little different in our journey, but we can all learn from each other. So we're going to take a quick look at that video and see how we can all elevate the world together. So thank you.
There is a question that every person asks themselves. We address science and religion to find the answer to it. Already, for 6,000 years, we have been trying to find out. Is there life after death? For the first time in history, scientists, physicians, clergymen, and eyewitnesses will seek the answer all together. Does reincarnation exist? Fear of death, what is its nature? How do we, alive people, know what death is? Who benefits from hiding facts about a person's after-death fate? Human consciousness is outside the body. The prophets knew the truth about the afterlife fate of humans. What does science say? Is the state of heaven and hell explained by physics? What are we here for? Answers to the most important questions for every person. May 22nd, 2021, International Online Conference. life after death, fiction and facts.
Exciting. It's just days away. Please be sure to tune in this Saturday. And, perhaps you were seeking some answers to some questions, and this is a wonderful way to connect and to learn and grow and evolve in the most amazing way. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you so much again, Melinda, for bringing your beautiful light and energy and sharing it with all of us. And thank you so much for all of the work that you continue to do. It's near and dear to my heart, as you know, from our brief conversation. So we will see you soon and look forward to learning who you're going to share with us. So thank you, everyone.
For the opportunity, and blessings to everyone.